So he grabbed a watermelon and a trombone and took off out of the night. Never saw him again.
Fair enough.
Hello and welcome to the Phil Shy podcast. I'm Peter Bell, and with me as always the nice man in comedy, Paddy Linton.
Hello.
But we're not here to talk about the mystery of the musical disappearing trombone. Lost track of that sentence. We're here to talk about football, as always. I'd say the biggest football stories of the week. It's just the shit we remember, to be honest with you.
Just whatever we remember to talk about that week.
So please don't complain if we've missed it massive, because we really don't care. So some of the biggest news that's come out this week is going to be the changes to the Premier League's profit and sustainability stuff. You know, that thing that Everton and Forest have recently been shafted by. They're going to change that. So the plan is to bring it in line with Europe. What happened to Brexit means Brexit, Paddy. That's what I want to know.
Brexit means Brexit, right? I want them all out.
First of all, you got Johnny Foreigner coming over here, improving our league, playing fantastic football, giving us countless hours of entertainment and making it the biggest league in the world. And now this.
Aye.
Now they're trying to make sure that our clubs are sustainable. That, I mean...
Yeah.
Sick to the back teeth. This sensible rules.
I'm gutted as a Newcastle supporter.
Yeah.
Because like we just got the golden ticket and then you can't use it.
Maybe not bring up golden tickets right now. I'll explain what the changes are. I know you did. I'll explain what the changes are, folks. So basically, right now, you can't make a loss of more than £105 million. That's Premier League rules agreed on by the whole league. If 14 teams in the league vote for something, it becomes one of the rules. What the change is going to be is so that you can't spend... They've not decided on the exact amount yet, but it's say 85%, I think is the highest they're going to go, of your turnover on wages and transfers. So those two combined, you can't spend over that. So basically, I think the plan is to make sure that no club makes a loss in reality at all. This will have different impacts, obviously, but depending where you are in the league. If you're one of the bigger clubs in the world, well, you think about that's why they had to do it. If you're one of the bigger clubs, you can make the same loss as one of the smaller clubs, which doesn't really make sense. Because £105 million loss to Luton is significantly different than £105 million loss to Man United. Yeah.
Aye.
So if it's only 85% or 70%, whichever it's going to be, of your turnover, again, the smaller teams will be able to spend a lot less and the bigger teams will be able to spend a lot more.
I guarantee the rich teams will find a way around it.
Possibly.
St James's Park's naming rights will get sold for like £1 billion. Do you know what I mean?
That is the nature of, if you're owned by a state or something like that, or massive companies who can then find ways around to sponsoring the team, they can bump up whatever your income is, and therefore your turnover, goes up, and you've got more to spend. So people do think it's a bit unfair because it can impact smaller teams, but smaller teams would be able to spend smaller amounts anyway.
Yeah.
And the whole point in this is so that those smaller teams don't go bust, which they might do. Say a team's just got promoted to the Premier League, they've gone, right, if we spend all this money, maybe we stay up. And then we'll be guaranteed income in the future. They don't stay up. They've spent way more than they have coming into the club, and they end up dropping down. Sunderland, Leeds. I think I am to Sheffield Wednesday.
Fulham
originally.
For a good long time.
Yeah, until
well.
I think it was it Al Fayed that brought them over, the Harris guy. So yeah, it's happened to a lot of clubs. So that's why these rules are in place. It probably won't make a massive difference, I think, to the way most clubs do business in the Premier League, but it's probably a step in the right direction to try and minimise how much clubs are losing money. And again, it makes more sense to make it in relation to the amount of money you're bringing in. Newcastle might be okay because they've got a big enough fan base anyway, and you know that they're going to get an audience over in Saudi now just because the royal family own it. So. And
they wear the Saudi kit as their away kit.
Yeah, that does help. And hosting like different national games in St James's Park, which is still mental. Yeah. But because they're doing that, it might help with that kind of thing. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's worth mentioning about this. What do you have any other thoughts on it? Like,
mate, it'll just be the same as it's always been.
Yeah.
Like Man City will continue to get away with everything. Newcastle will probably get away with everything. They'll just like if you're rich enough, like Klopp talked about it in an interview this week, and he was just like, there's clubs that just don't have a ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, there's no ceiling to what they can do with their money because they've got unlimited money.
Well, Chelsea's spending is apparently catching up with them now. They need to make like 100 million in profit.
Aye.
So that's not just 100 million in sales. They need to make the sales so that it's 100 million in profit on sales.
Aye.
So if they sold Mudryk for 100 million, that would only be 20 million.
Aye, right.
So like it wouldn't be. It's got to be all that, and they need to do that in order to balance the books for Europe, not for the Premier League, because it's a different rule for.
It's nuts.
It's mental. It's
No, wait, mate, there's armies of accountants, man.
Aye.
Like, so like.
And lawyers. I
Aye.
mean, City have proven that like magically that you got the best lawyers in the world. Rules don't apply to you.
That's slippery, man.
Yeah. I mean, there's members of our royal family that do the same thing, but we won't go into that.
Well,
Sticking with UEFA, the new Champions League format was confirmed this week. So I think most of us have known what this is going to be for a while.
has that just been confirmed?
Basically, yeah, it was like at least according to Sky Sports, it was confirmed that this is definitely how it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not familiar with it, it's changing into an actual league format.
Yeah.
So there'll be 36 teams instead of 32, and you won't play the same team twice, home and away. You'll play 8 teams. 4 of those matches at home, 4 away, but there'll be different teams.
How do you decide who you play?
So there'll be 4 pots in it. So
Alright.
1 top seeds, 2nd top seeds, 3rd top seeds, bottom seeds, and you'll play 2 from each pot over the course of the qualification phase.
Ah, fair.
So it's quite a good idea. I mean, people will complain about it from a player welfare point of view because it's 2 more games in what is already a busy season. We've seen more injuries than we ever have before this season, so that there is validity in that point. But it's also more money for fans' pockets to go and travel to all these places or pay for the home matches because they'll bump up the prices.
Aye, but still getting 4 home matches in the Champions League.
Exactly,
That's
but
class.
that's the other thing. You get
for like wee teams.
4 home matches. You get also 4 different teams coming to your stadium rather than just 3.
Yeah.
And then you get 4 different away games, completely different to the 4 home games you've had.
Aye.
So you get to mingle with a lot more fans. You get to travel to a lot more
Aye.
different and see your team play more teams.
For Celtic, that'd be good because we
Yeah.
always get the same teams every year.
Yeah, exactly.
Barcelona.
Barcelona, like PSG. Arsenal used to get that with Bayern Munich and Barcelona as well. It would always
Aye.
be those 2, and it always went badly. But yeah, no, I think there are obviously it's a virtual version of it, and it's only a certain degree of reality to it. But I have seen it for a while in Football Manager. And it was a lot more fun.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. It was good. And it did feel almost more balanced. It didn't feel like you were getting put in with 2 absolute Goliaths and things like that, even though you do have to play 2 top teams. The way the qualification will work is the top 8 teams automatically go through. The teams in 9th to 16th, 9th to 16th, they will get... the top seeds playoff spots, and they will play the teams that finish between 17th and 24th. So basically, you can finish as low as 24th in this table and still have a chance of getting through to the last 16. And the other benefit is you'll be in Europe longer if you finish anywhere in the top 24 because you've got that playoff match.
So you've played 9 games in the Champions League. Well,
Yeah.
10 because it'll be a 2-legged playoff in it.
Yeah, I think they
So
are,
you just need to finish in the top 24 and you've got 10 games in the Champions
I
League.
think basically if you're in the top 24, you're guaranteed to be in Europe after Christmas, which is what everybody wants. So it's from that perspective, it's quite exciting. And you would think that a lot of teams would see that as we've got a better chance of going further in the Champions League than we did under the current rules. So. It's quite exciting. It was a lot of fun to play with on Football Manager, but that does not mean it will turn out to be fun in reality.
Cenk, they'll keep it long term because remember they had the 2 group stage thing for about 2 years in the early noughties.
I like to think they will because I think there'll be too many benefits from this.
I suppose if you've made 4 extra berths, then you can't really take them
There's
away.
more money coming in. There's more opportunity for advertising because there's more games. There's more teams involved, so that will keep people happier. It just seems like this is going to be a bigger win for UEFA. I do think it's ridiculous if England managed to get, if any
5.
country managed to get 5. They can't have a quarter of the league qualifying for the Champions League. Because what's the fucking point in calling it the Champions League then, genuinely?
So, like, if there's 4 more teams getting into the Champions League, that means 4 more teams for the Europa League going to the Champions League, and then 4 more teams for the Conference League going to the Europa League. Who are going to be the extra 4 teams in the Conference League? Fucking Mordor. like every Conference League game, I'm like, who?
Shamrock Rovers making a comeback.
Shamrock Rovers are going to be in the Champions League. Let's do it.
Let's not go that far. But no, I think it's quite a good idea, and hopefully they'll stick with it. After, like, once you get to the round of 16, it's exactly the same as it is just now. So there's no changes for
It'll
that.
just be they should just fucking cut out the middleman and just go straight to PSG Real Madrid quarterfinal. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what's going to happen. That's what happens every year. Like, it's happening this year as well. Like,
you'd be like,
the last 16 draw was mental. There was no 2 big teams playing each other.
Well, yeah, and tonight actually you've got Dortmund versus PSV, which it just feels like a Europa League match, that one. I know Dortmund have done well in the Champions League in the past, but that was quite a while ago, you know. It feels like quite a Europa League game. Who else is on tonight? Atletico Inter. That's a proper Champions League game. That's a good one. Speaking of, Arsenal and Barcelona both went through last night.
Yeah.
Arsenal took penalties to get through, but they did it. And
your boy Raya.
Yeah, I know.
I watched it and they were talking about bringing on Ramsdale for the penalties.
Doing a Tim Krul.
Aye.
Who's that? That was Louis van Gaal, wasn't it, that made that substitution?
Aye, Tim Krul had all the instructions on his water bottle.
He was also
he saved the first penalty and then went, I fucking know. Which is just terrifying.
Yeah, to be fair, I think that worked.
Aye.
I can't remember who the
Costa
opposition
Rica?
team was. It Costa Rica?
Aye, Costa
They
Rica.
were like, oh shit, he does know.
Aye, he fucking knows.
But the main thing from this was 41-year-old Pepe was playing brilliantly. Like, at 41 years old.
I seen on Twitter, somebody described his performance on Twitter last night as 24 karat Ewok. Which I fucking love.
It's bizarre to me. Do you know what one of the weirdest things about it is thinking that someone born in 1983 is 41?
Yeah.
Like, I know mathematically that's right, but that just feels inherently wrong to me, because to me, anyone born in 1980 should be about 30.
Aye,
and I'm saying that, and I'm 31, 32. Sorry, so I know that's not true, but it just feels wrong.
Aye,
but he's had an interesting career, Pepe. Yeah, he's won a lot of trophies. I'll list a couple of them here. I'll list them all actually. Here we go. So he's got 3 La Liga. I'll go back to the start actually. Porto. He's won 4 Portuguese league titles. He's won 8 domestic cups in Portugal, all with Porto. His first trophy with Porto was in 2004.
2004.
And he's still playing just now, 20 years ago.
So what was his first? Did they win?
It was a Super Cup. It was the European Super Cup after they won the
UEFA Cup the year before.
Yeah.
That's mental.
He won 3 La Liga titles, 2 Copa del Reys, 2 Spanish Super Cups, 3 Champions League, a UEFA Super Cup, 2 Club World Cups. Majority of them with Madrid, obviously. Yeah. And he's won the Euros and the Nations League as well. But in spite of all this success,
he's had so many red cards.
He'll be remembered for being an absolute maniac.
Yeah, mate.
It's hard to describe, but some of his tackles that he's put in his career made Roy Keane look considered and calm. He's an absolute.
Made Roy
thug.
Keane look like Andrea Pirlo.
I've got a quote that a Paddy Power tweet that could sum up his career quite well. This was 2016 World Cup final. They said, even if Real Madrid lose, Pepe should be awarded a medal for managing not to get sent off.
Some of the sending offs, I was watching, because the BBC put up an article and it was just listing all his maddest moments, and I just had a watch through it, and it's a great 10-minute watch, man. Culminating on the ultimate one against Getafe, where the boy goes down for a penalty and then he just kicks him twice on the deck, and then he goes and looks as if he's checking to see if he's okay, but knees puts his knee into the guy's back really heavily, and then just starts headbutting people. He got a 10-match ban for that. And just out of nowhere, I think Real Madrid were winning the game comfortably as well, and he just gave away a soft penalty and just went fucking bananas.
See the shit he's done, like outside of a football pitch, you're serving jail time for that kind of stuff, man.
Mate, Duncan Ferguson get to jail for heating a player.
Ah, yeah, that's
Like
true.
he gets 6 weeks. Like Pepe should have got a fucking 3.5 years for that.
Didn't he stamp on someone's hand as well? Or
Messi,
something?
aye.
Yeah. Messi, how dare you? How dare you? That's completely changed my tone on this. I was all for a bit of Pepe fun, but you've ruined it with that.
There was a game recently against Roma. It was like during COVID times where he smacked Mkhitaryan, like,
Aye.
and then just started a massive brawl. But then he just like moved into the background, like he just slammed the guy, and then everybody started scrapping. He's just like, yes,
That's textbook Pepe though. And I bet was Mourinho still managing them at that point?
Yep.
Yeah, Mourinho would have been like, I know he's on the opposite team, but that's my boy.
He's my boy. Who do you think would win a fight between Pepe and Diego Costa?
I'd probably go Pepe. I'd probably go Pepe just because I don't know. The fact that he's bald, I think, makes him look harder as well.
I don't know, man.
He's got less wind resistance, so on a heater, like he's going to plant that on you at full pelt.
I would pay to watch that.
His head's completely frictionless, Pepe. That's it's a scientific fact. He's not even bald anymore, is he?
I don't know.
I don't think he is. No. He was equally a maniac for Portugal as well.
Oh, Thomas Muller. He's sent off for like battering Thomas Muller, who's in himself a hard guy. Do you know what I mean?
But also just such a nice guy, Thomas Muller. Like I really like him. I think there was a photo of him or the cameraman panning around him after Portugal had lost, and there's like Pepe's welling up, and then someone just put, and this cameraman was never seen again.
Pepe found him.
When Suarez first joined Barcelona, Paddy and Pedro had a bet that you could take on the odds of Luis Suarez biting Pepe in his debut. It just sums both players up. I'd love to have seen that.
By far and away, his greatest achievement is the chicken chop. It's fucking delicious.
Is that where we are? Is that what we're going through?
Yeah, I love our Pepes, man.
Well, you've made Paul laugh, and that's important. So I don't know if there's anything else worth talking about before we get into the games. Obviously, Scotland's national team was announced this week. I've not got it in front of me, but was there any surprises in there for you? Because it was pretty bog standard.
Aye.
The only thing that surprised me is that Jack Hendry is playing for Al Ettifaq or whatever it is.
Gerrard's team.
Aye, I didn't know that.
Aye.
Oh, there you are.
Probably loaded, man.
English football podcast, and we're expecting that we know who the fuck Jack Hendry is.
Well, Jack Henry, legend.
He's good for Scotland. And
Club Bruges legend.
Yeah, that's who it was, Club Bruges.
There's a video of Jack Henry, I think it was, did he play for a Swedish team or something?
I
think he was playing for a Swedish team at the time.
You're right.
And he just sounds like a wee bam, and he's like just slagging the cunt. It's like a CCTV for the changing room, and he's just like, "What you fucking doing? Stop the cross, mate." It's just a Swedish guy, like K or whatever they say.
Yeah.
I've been to Sweden. They don't say K. They say what? Because everybody speaks perfect English.
Your brain meant to countries begin with S. Spain, K.
¿Qué pasa?
Big Wog, he'd be able to tell you what they say in Sweden. England still haven't announced their squad yet. Joe Gomez is expected to be back in the squad for the first time in 4 years. That's the last time he played for England. And
has he been gone that long?
Yeah, genuinely. They also, weirdly, the expectation is that Jack Butland will be in the squad.
Really?
Yeah, for the first time in 5 years.
Oft. Fair play.
Fair play. Nick Pope's injured.
Jordan Henderson will definitely be in the squad.
Yeah.
He'll be starting. It's mad that like England could have a centre mid pairing of Rice and Bellingham, but one of the two won't start. Probably Rice for Henderson.
No, Rice and Bellingham are always guaranteed starters, but it's just who plays in the other position.
Yeah.
So Bellingham will be in the attacking mid, Rice will be the defensive midfielder. And the reality is, even though he's been playing pish recently, Calvin Phillips stands a very good chance again.
No.
He loves him. He absolutely loves him. Like, he can do no wrong in Southgate's eyes. So I know he shouldn't.
He
Pape. I'm not
shouldn't,
supporting
mate.
the idea.
I know, but he just shouldn't, man.
He'll fight. He'll pick him. He always does. He always picks him, and it's just mental. Right, okay, let's get on to the actual games from the weekend then. Only one place to start, Liverpool versus City.
Amazing.
It was a good game of football, yeah. It felt like it had a bit more bite to it than other games I've seen between the two of them. Not between the managers, but between the players. Salah not being fit was quite a big blow. Not fit to start anyway.
Right.
Because he loves a game against the big teams. He always likes to get a goal in those games. But it was a big thing for them that Dominic Szoboszlai was back.
Yeah.
Because that midfield, Endo, Szoboszlai and McAllister, that's who I think they would want to pick if they had everybody available.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a nice balance in there. I know it's probably still maybe too attacking.
Yeah.
You'd want a better CDM in there, but with how much the Endo runs and the amount of ground he covers, and McAllister as well this season.
Been phenomenal the last few weeks.
Yeah. I think you've got to say that that's a pretty decent midfield. It's still new, still getting to know each other because all three players joined this season, but we'll see how well that does for them going forward. Connor Bradley again was really, really good.
Phenomenal, man.
I can see what Dan was saying with he looks like Andy Robertson. He plays like him. Because some of that attacking play was like proper Andy Robertson. So he could be a real big play for them, especially if they do decide to move Trent into midfield, and then that gives them another option in there. Have him at the defensive midfield position. I know he's not the best tackler, but he's probably better than McAllister at that.
We've spoken about this before, but I don't think you'll see that this season.
No,
it's too late in the season for experiments and stuff.
Yeah. And Klopp just wants to go out in a bang, so he won't take any unnecessary risks. City looked quite sharp, quite bright from the off. Created a couple of chances, including that De Bruyne dink.
Oh my God!
I mean, I didn't want City to win this game, but God, I wish that went in. What a goal that would have been.
It was fucking. He's class, isn't he?
He's at
so
a different
good,
level.
Man.
He's just a completely different level.
Let's talk about the first goal. Foul.
Oh, what one was this again?
The corner.
No, it wasn't a foul. No.
Do you not think that was a foul?
No.
Because like Liverpool get done with the same thing against Chelsea, where like they blocked somebody and it was like no goal.
I don't think that's a foul because.
But like, see if you see it from a certain angle, he's like holding his shirt.
Well, I've only seen it from the back where he's just muscling him out the way. No,
so like there's like pictures from behind the goal and you can see him. He's got a handful of shirt. I don't know why the camera's never picked that up, but like he's got a hold of him. He's not just like putting his shoulder against him.
If he's got a hold of him, yeah, it is a foul. But there is also an element of just playing devil's advocate and what they always say on football shows and what managers always say. If you give a foul for that, you're going to give about 15 a game.
Yeah. Also, see, watching this game, Mike Dean's got the best job in the world. Because they just go to Mike Dean and they go, was that a penalty, Mike? And he goes, I've seen them given. Like, half the time he's not even watching the game, I bet you, man, he's just sitting counting money.
Do you know what he actually does? And it does do my tits in. Because what he does is he'll say what he thinks in the first place. He'll say, oh, I think that's a penalty. And then when the VAR doesn't give it, he'll go, oh no, you can't give that. Like
so brutal.
He's just protecting his mates, man. That's all the referees do these days, is just try and look after
it. It's so funny though, like where he's like, definite penalty, and then he'll go, oh, cause like he's actually played the ball out. It's like, but he's kicked the guy in the head.
Aye. And I mean, Liverpool can't really complain about a goal going against them after something like that when they got lucky against Forest, you know. So
nah, swings and roundabouts. I don't know.
Aye, you get some, you don't get some.
I don't know. I think Liverpool have been getting done with VAR this year.
So Forest.
Aye.
Wolves have been apologised to more times than I've apologised to lovers. But on that goal though, you do also have to say Kevin De Bruyne's cross, to put it so perfectly that it just doesn't go out of play.
With a spin.
Aye. And it goes straight to John Stones, who was supposed to be being marked by Big Fan de Carroll. And I don't know what he was doing. He must have been daydreaming or something, because John Stones is in front of him. He's clearly marking him.
Yeah.
John Stones just wanders away and he's walks like that. And then suddenly he realises Stones is about to get the ball and he bolts to try and catch up on them, but it's much too late.
Aye.
It seems like the only people that knew where Stones was Ake and De Bruyne. And because Van Dijk didn't get back to mark him either.
They said they came up with that routine the day before.
I heard they'd practiced it a couple of times.
Aye, like they just practiced it a couple of times the day before.
Yeah.
It's mad like how these wee things can like have such a big impact on the week. Do you know what I mean?
It's always, you're seeing more and more the importance of a set piece coach.
Aye.
And it's really shown. Because Arsenal have got a whole bunch of goals from corners and free kicks now. So it's seeming to work anyway in the modern Premier League. Don't know why I said it like that.
The Premier League.
The goals seem to wake Liverpool up though. They seem to sort of spark into life a bit after it. It was a very back and forth game actually. It was
the first half.
yeah.
I'd say the second half was one way traffic, man. Apart from like the odd breakaway where Udogie hit the post.
Yeah.
The Liverpool were amazing. They deserved to win the game in my opinion.
I'd say they probably did edge it, and I mean they had more possession and probably had more clear cut chances. But if you think about some of the chances Liverpool City had as well, Kelleher makes a save, Doku hits the post.
Aye.
They could have probably had a couple more goals either.
Yeah.
I was expecting a 2-2 in this game.
So did I.
But and it easily could have been, but 1-1 works very well for me. The penalty.
the Liverpool penalty where Ederson just runs out and just wipes the boy out. Like,
the way he goes through the air after the tackle.
It was mad. It was like
lovely to
it was
see.
like Miller against Simunovic, man. Like, you just sent him up in the air. A wee throwback. It's a wee reminder.
It's one of my favourite tackles. Which is really sad that you say I've got a favourite tackle.
I know, favourite tackle.
I mean, obviously it was a penalty. And then Ederson gets injured doing it as well.
Aye.
Which is not good because apparently it looks like it could be quite a bit more serious than what it looked like.
But like, why is he swinging for that? Like
He's Ederson, mate.
I know, but like
He clearly underestimated how quick Andy Carroll.
Andy Carroll.
Aye. And Nunez is, and he just went, right, I can get there.
Aye.
I mean, I won that brilliant tackle last week. Why wouldn't I be able to do it again?
That's true.
He's heard us
Man,
complimenting him on this show. That's what it is. And he's just gone for it. And
it's a belter though.
It's not gone the way that he'd won. He almost saved the penalty as well. His dodgy ankle. He's so close to getting it, but you got to credit McAllister. He hit it well. Put it just out
I
of his
think
reach.
McAllister's missed a Premier League penalty.
Possibly
like
not.
10.
No.
Which is very, very good.
Yeah, I think
It's not quite Ricky Lambert numbers, but what?
Is that quite depressing?
Ricky Lambert was an expert penalty taker.
The two of the best penalty takers in Premier League history are both Southampton strikers.
Yeah.
You know, because I think Letizia is like 39 and 40 or 49 and 50 or something like that. It was a big save from Kelleher again at 1-1. That's what I was saying. I think it was Foden.
Yeah.
That gets through and goal.
Aye.
And he just stays so big.
Aye.
He's really impressed during this. And I know like playing second fiddle to Alisson isn't that bad a career, especially because he's picking up quite a few injuries these days. But you got to think someone of his ability should be playing first team football.
I think, who was in the commentary? Peter Drury. I think Peter Drury was saying that the fact that Alisson, the best keeper in the world, has been out for the last few weeks and you've not even noticed. Do you know what I mean? That's how good this guy is. Like, it's no impacted Liverpool.
Yeah.
Like, he's no made any mistakes. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, he has been. And I think he is still young, especially for a goalkeeper, so he's got a good career ahead of him, put it that way. Good performance for Van Dijk as well. Mm-hmm. He was pretty solid. That
the Rolls Royce.
that sort of face-off between him and Holland at one point.
Oh, that was class, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're genuinely just going to have no idea what's going to happen here.
Aye. It's like the best striker in the league against the best defender in the league.
It's a shame it only happened once. I'd love to see
just a few one-on-ones.
That like the old Nazel, the American soccer penalty.
Oh, where you're running for the 35-yard line.
Aye, and then try and beat the goalkeeper. It was like that, but with a defender in the way. But no, he played really well. Had some brilliant long passes out from the back as well as just marshalling Haaland at the game. So we got to give him credit.
Keeping an eye on me, Kwanzaa. Is Kwanzaa a holiday or some shit?
It is, yeah.
Is it? Aye.
Yeah,
because I was saying this during the game at one of the boys in work.
Futurama. Remember like when Bender's Santa Claus.
Whoa, what?
When Bender B Rodriguez is Santa Claus. There's also Kwanzaa bot.
Kwanzaa bot, aye.
Goes around the planet handing out books that says what the hell is Kwanzaa. But it's spelled differently. What else do I say? Salah comes on eventually. And then just instantly is like in the game.
Aye, I think his first touch was that pass through for Diaz, who should have scored.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but that ball was just... That's something I think Salah's added to his game this season, or certainly in the past 2 seasons. Because when he was playing up front alongside Mane, they used to argue all the time that the other person wasn't
passing
them. You know, they were only interested in trying to get the golden
stats.
Boot. But now Salah is like, he's got a real good pass on him and he's showing it off. So yeah, he came on and looked very, very sharp. And like you say, second half, Liverpool probably did deserve to take all 3 points. Very grateful they didn't, but they probably should have.
Well for Arsenal.
Aye. I can't ever remember seeing De Bruyne being that angry.
Oh, that was quite spicy and I enjoyed that.
It's a bold decision to take him off when you need a goal as well.
Kind of worked though, to be fair.
Yeah. And Kovacic is going to cover a lot more ground, which is going to help with the Liverpool midfield who will run. And Doku obviously hit the post and could have scored. So it did almost work out very, very well for them. But he wasn't happy, was he?
No, they were still they were still gone on the bench. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, he sat down next to him.
They were still gone a few minutes later, still going back and forward.
I don't know how many other players he would do that with during a game. Like sit down and go, it's all right.
Aye.
It's because it's De Bruyne.
Subbing half the best centre in the world though.
Yeah, bold. It's a bold decision. Yeah.
There's just some players that don't get subbed half unless they get injured. I'd say he's one of them.
Or you're like 5-0 up and you're like,
protect them.
Yeah. I said this earlier, I thought it was a bit more bite. Obviously not between the managers, but it felt like the crowd was really into it. They were booing a lot. There was a couple of challenges that made it look a bit more feisty. So, and that's what you want from a top of the league.
So how many of these games? Because I've been looking forward to this game for months, and how many of these games you've been waiting ages for it, and it's just
drab. Yeah.
No.
Not so much this season, to be fair. You think about Chelsea City was like, what was that, 3-3 or 4-4, and Spurs Chelsea was like 4-2, and there's been a lot of games that have between the big teams that have actually provided goals this season. So it's been a lot more interesting. Doku, like we said, he looked pretty sharp coming on for some saves, but. Well, he looked better than last week, that's all. Liverpool forced a couple of saves from Ortega. He'll need to play a lot more because, like I say, Ederson's ankle's a bit knackered. Was there a second penalty claim?
Mate, the one where McAllister get kicked in the chest.
What am I talking about? It's the biggest story of the
biggest
weekend.
talking point.
So, right, this is going to be like, well, no matter what we say, people are going to be angry about it. So, if you don't know, Doku does get a slight touch on the ball and then his foot just goes into the chest and stomach of McAllister.
Yeah.
The referee doesn't give a penalty and the VAR doesn't even say, hold on a minute, you should maybe go look at that.
Yeah.
That's the bit that blows my mind.
Yeah.
That there was no, you might want to check that. I can see why it wouldn't be given as a penalty because he does get a touch on the ball and McAllister's coming into him full belt.
The ref should be going to monitor for that though.
But you should be going to monitor. Yeah. It really surprised me.
Especially in the 90th minute. The biggest game of the season so far.
Yeah.
And I think it's a penalty.
It surprises me it wasn't a penalty.
Aye.
But I can see why you wouldn't give it as a penalty.
Mike Dean was like defo pen and then they were like check complete and he's like I can see why they've not given that, to be honest. You're like fuck you Mike.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is because it's McAllister running into Doku rather than Doku going into McAllister.
Aye.
Because the momentum's coming from him. That's a big part of why.
But he's looking at the ball as well.
Yeah, I know.
And the studs are up here. So.
But the thing is, if he's going to do that, he has to make sure he gets the ball first if he wants to get the penalty. Because Doku touched the ball first, his foot isn't ridiculously high. Because if you volley the ball, your foot will be about that height. It's not like he kicked him in the head. So I can see why it wasn't given, but I can't see why there was no review of it whatsoever. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I fully expected it to be given as a penalty.
Me too.
And my mum, having not seen the game, decided the next day she would send me and my sister a meme gif of I think McAllister was Stone Cold Steve Austin. And it said Doku over Shawn Michaels, and he just did Sweet Chin Music. And I was like, Mum, what are you doing?
What? How did Shawn Mag get access to all these references?
I think someone in her work must have sent it to our work group chat, and she's just forwarded it to me, because she was saying she was in a work call or in something like that last week, a team meeting, and she was messaging me asking me what I thought about the game, and I was like, I think it'll be 2-2, but it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool won at Anfield. And she said that to our team, and they all just turned and looked at her and went, how do you know we're Liverpool? She was like, okay, I'm not going to lie, my son told me to say that. So she's just trying to get involved.
Up at wrestling.
I don't know why.
She wasn't for WrestleMania.
I've tried to think of a wrestler I could claim she was a big fan of, but I don't know.
You can't think of a wrestler?
Active wrestlers.
The Rock's at it.
Is he?
Aye.
What are you doing, man? You've got hundreds of money. Just stick with the acting, you'll be fine.
Aye, mate.
Maybe try a serious film once in a while. What else have we got? Oh yeah, so now we need to talk about how this is going to impact the run-in for the title.
Yep.
So I've got the teams left to play. Well, first of all, let's say Arsenal and Liverpool are joint on 64.
Yep.
Arsenal are ahead in goal difference because they've scored just like 1 billion goals since the turn of the year. And City are 1 point behind on 63. They've all played the same amount of games now. Arsenal's fixtures left are City.
Is that the next fixture?
Yeah. After the international break, City, Luton, Brighton, Villa, Wolves, Tottenham, Bournemouth, Man United, Everton and Chelsea. Chelsea game is somewhere in the middle, but it's been postponed because I think it falls in the same day as a league game, a cup game, sorry. Liverpool have Brighton, Sheffield, Man United, Palace, Fulham, West Ham, Tottenham, Villa, Wolves and Everton. Again, I think Everton is a cup game that's getting moved about.
Yeah.
And City have Arsenal, Villa, Palace, Luton, Tottenham, Forest, Wolves, Fulham, West Ham and Brighton.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of overlap. They're playing a lot of the same teams.
Yeah.
Arsenal have the most teams in the top half, so they've probably got the most difficult running, which is, a thing they don't need. They could really do with an easy running. Although they've played well against the big teams this season.
Yeah, it's usually
record
against the weird teams.
Yeah, you got the best record against the top 6, so maybe that'll be all right.
I think, but is it City haven't beat anybody in the top 5 this year?
I mean, they've only got, in the top 5, they've only got Arsenal and Villa and Tottenham. So
no, because Villa beat them, Tottenham drew with them, drew with Liverpool twice.
Yeah,
and they beat half Arsenal. So they've no beat any of their main rivals, which is unlike them.
We'll see if that lasts in 2 weeks' time at the Etihad.
That's going to be an amazing game as well. That's the biggest game.
All 3 teams still in Europe, so they've got that to factor into it.
Different kinds of Europe, though.
Yeah. The Champions League and the Europa League, it's very different.
Like fucking Liverpool are 5-1 up against Prague.
There's not much to choose between Liverpool and City's running, but I'd say City's is marginally easier. Yeah, because there's fewer of the sort of top teams in there.
But the Champions League might.
Yeah, that's a big factor, and you'd expect them to go far in the FA Cup as well.
And Ederson being out. Although you'd say that you would have said that about Liverpool, and it's not seemed to affect them too much. So who knows? Who's your money on? You still thinking it's City? If I was actually going to bet money on it, I would say City.
Yeah,
but my heart says Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm similar. My head says City, but obviously my heart wants Arsenal to do it. It'd be very weird if it didn't, to be honest with you. I shouldn't have bought all those shirts if I was going to not want them to win the league, but I don't know. But yeah, I think it's going to be City. They've got probably the easiest run in, they've got the strongest squad, and they've got the best manager for me, so it just seems likely. Even though they've not been at their best this season, it seems to me that when they're not at their best, it's because they're literally not at their best. It's like their foot's off the gas, or so. Like it's just like they're not quite hitting those levels. Whereas with Arsenal, when they're not at their best, it's because their arse is falling off like completely. Like,
oh, by the way, I forgot to send you this thing. I saw a clip of Arteta doing a motivational speech, and he's got like a light bulb Oh, mate, you have to see this. It's pure David Brent.
To be fair,
He's like, Edison invented the light bulb. He's like, the light bulb on its own means nothing. And he plugs it in, it lights up, and they're all like, ooh. And he says, the team needs to be connected like a light bulb to the wire. And it's fucking brutal, mate.
it can't be worse than
It's embarrassing, man.
The wee drawing he did of like the head and the heart. Like it was like a brain and a heart. And like all that.
Mate, he's David Brent. He's Spanish David Brent.
Like, if it works, it works. I don't care.
Oh, no, I wanted to punch my phone watching it. Honestly.
Mate, if you would absolutely love him if he was the manager of Newcastle United.
When he does become the manager of Newcastle United, because he get offered fucking £10 million a week.
Let's be real. When Pep leaves,
do you think he's going to go to Newcastle?
No, when Pep leaves Man City,
he's got to Man City.
Arteta will go to Man City.
I was like, Jink, Pep will go to Newcastle. Pure hoping my voice started quivering there. He's like, Jink so.
Yeah, it's funny that like after all these podcasts we've done, I think that was the stupidest thing you've said.
Well, there's a lot of competition.
Right, okay. Up next, Villa Tottenham.
Good game.
Wild result for Spurs. You know, because I was saying that I thought Villa were probably favourites for fourth. This game could have completely changed that. I do want to say though, Villa started, I mean, first half were absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
created a whole bunch of chances. It just couldn't score.
Couldn't finish them.
If you look at actually watching this game and looking at the stats, there is no logical reason that this was 4-0 to Tottenham, because Villa were not only in the game, but arguably for large periods the better football team.
Especially first half.
Yeah, like they 2-0 down, I think it was at half time, despite the fact that like both of those goals were against the run of play.
Yeah,
it was just a bizarre game. What else is there that I want to say about this at the start? Yeah, so it's the clash of styles really that was the problem.
Aye.
Both teams play with really high back lines because they like to press. That's just, you know, the way Ange plays, the way Emery plays. They want to congest the space in the middle of the park, and Villa started the game by getting, like, it was Leon Bailey, I think, playing off the wing, and Watkins just to run in behind. And they were getting joy, they were creating chances. Vicario made a couple of saves. Van de Ven made some really big blocks.
Oh, mate, I rate him so highly.
Yeah.
If his hamstrings weren't made of tracing paper, he'd be one of the best in the league.
Well, apparently he's only going to really miss this weekend. They're expecting him to be back after the international break, so shouldn't be out for too long. But then again, he has been injured a lot this season, so who knows?
I think he might have the same thing as Owen had. Like, because he was so fast, like he was injury prone.
You had your chance to slip a wee Kieran Tierney in the conversation and you didn't take it.
Oh no, Kieran Tierney's pelvis is like a fucking pentagon or something, man. His pelvis is fucked.
Yeah, he's got pelvis.
He's got a fucked pelvis.
Yeah, that's.
I was going to try and say parallelogram, but I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself that I could get that out in a wanna.
No, not after the pet comment.
I went for a pentagon, which didn't make that much. A rhombus.
He's got a rhombus pelvis. Yeah, and Romero didn't get sent off or yellow carded, so like he had a good game as well. Their back line really did do a good job.
No, they're looking good. The boy that came on, Dragerson, is he? He looked all right. That's the longest he's played. It usually comes on for like the last 10 minutes, which is weird for a centre back.
Well, I think they're just trying to get him game time because he is very much a signing for the future. He was brought in just for squad depth during the January window, but they see him as a future like first team player, so they're just trying to get him exposed to the league as much as they can at the moment. But it was a lot of last ditch tackling as well as, you know, putting pressure on them, because Villa spent a lot of time around their box in the first half, and it really surprised me they didn't score. It's almost like Ollie Watkins isn't an elite level striker.
I know, mate. I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming this week, mate. I knew it was coming this week.
Yeah, we already spoke about the injury to Van de Ven. That's their biggest worry, but he should be back before too long. Spurs get the first goal on the counter. It was a bit too easy, I would say, for Kulusevski to beat those that midfield trap around them.
Nah,
It's good play from him, but
he's just ran a straight line. No, didn't he really do much with the ball.
he is a good player though. Yeah, I think did he set up or score one of the later goals as well? He looks.
The
sharp
cross
again.
for Sarr was fucking unreal.
Oh yeah,
when he's off balance as well to like whip it in. Like
but
that.
again, because of the high line, because of the way they press. He's got all the space in the world to get there and get that cross in. It's just ridiculous, but it was a really good ball. And Madison's never gonna, he's never gonna pass up a chance like that.
Should have seen him at Aberdeen.
With the 3 free kicks he scored. It was. But no, it was a good goal, but Villa made it a bit too easy for them with the defence.
Yeah,
and it did sort of energise Spurs a little bit that because it wasn't long after that they got the second goal. Yeah. Again, just pressing, make the mistake. Then all of a sudden, because the high line, Villa's got one defender, then there's 3 Spurs players, and then there's the rest of the defence. And you're
Johnson just runs through and smacks it.
This is sort of typical of the way Ange's teams play. And it works very well if you're against a team that aren't quite as good as you or don't have insanely quality above you. Like you could see that at Celtic when we were playing other teams in the SPL. It worked really well all the time. Then when you played Real Madrid in Europe, it kind of backfired upon us. But it worked really well for them in this game as well.
I think like they're no as gung-ho with their attacking as they were at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So like the fullbacks only spending the entire game like right up the pitch.
Yeah.
They're actually like choosing when to go for it. Like after the ball, I think they're the best team in the league. Like with their press, because they all go at the same time. They're like they all do it as a unit.
But they can get caught out that way, which is why they do end up conceding a lot of the time. In fact, this was Villa's first home game this season where they didn't score.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
The home record up until Christmas was amazing. And
Absolutely.
The John McGinn just wiping a cunt out.
He is a wee bulldog, man. There was no need for it. I'm booting this guy.
Because like when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's a bit of a harsh red." But like when
I still think it's harsher.
I thought it was harsh at first. And then when you see the replay slowed down, you're like, he's just like kicked him. But like when you at full speed, he's like just clattered him.
Oh, I know.
Getting nowhere near the boy. He was just wanting to hit the cunt.
He has just gone up and kicked the man. Yeah, absolutely. There's no denying that. But it's not that dangerous. He's not going to break his leg doing it. Yeah. It's not last man or anything like that. So like, surely a yellow would probably do.
Yeah, he's a wee bulldog. Does that mean because is that because they found Destiny? It's a Udogie world. Yes, mate.
I know we've still got games to talk about, but I want to stop this podcast.
We'll end this now. It was a mental
the Villa's fan reaction to it. They're just singing his name. Super
I know.
John McGinn.
There's only one
after he's just assaulted him.
Just booty that guy.
Birmingham, please don't ever change.
Then Son scores, Werner scores.
Yeah,
like
Werner. Finding form just in time for the Euros, the dickhead, man.
I know.
To Scotland have got him.
I still rate him as a signing. Even he came on for 5 minutes and scored. He's good, especially for pressing because he's rapid. Well,
Werner scored and didn't Maeda score a hat-trick for Celtic recently? The world's ending.
Yep.
We're all done.
End product.
if they're scoring goals, we are all fucked.
Yeah.
See if there's anything else I want to talk about in this game. That's what I would say. Arsenal fans found this out about Emery, and I would say it about both teams, and this game was proof of that. Other games have been proof of that as well, that neither of these managers have a plan B, or if they do, they just don't want to use it. They're like, this is how we play football. Regardless of what happens, we're going to play this way. I mean, you saw with Tottenham against
Chelsea.
Yeah.
When they had 9 men and they were all in Chelsea's half.
And like, you'd think maybe after they concede the first 2 goals, Villa, they're like, right, okay, we are creating chances like this, but so are they. Maybe need to take a step back, move the defence further back, and play a bit more conservatively. Maybe bring Douglas Luiz further back so we've got more cover in front of the midfield. Nope.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what we're doing.
Going.
One of these shots has got to go in, and it just didn't.
Fortunately, there was only 40 people left in the stadium for Werner's goal. Like, it's so empty.
That's a really good fan base as well. Usually,
I know, they were like, "Fuck this, man."
To be fair, they probably just couldn't believe what they were seeing after that kind of performance, you know. Or they're all John McGinn fans. Yeah, they're just like, he's off. That I'm not interested anymore.
If he's away, so man.
What I would say about that red card, it was never going to get overturned. I'm not surprised it wasn't overturned, but I do feel like it could have been a yellow.
Yeah, it was
something else. Oh yeah, so now Tottenham are 2 points behind Aston Villa, and they've got a game in hand. The run-ins are quite similar, like we said, because I think they had to play all three of the top three still. Who'd you fancy for fourth now?
I think Tottenham, just because of their performances against the bigger teams.
Yeah. Because you'd fancy them to get a draw in all three of those big games.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, though. It'll be like 3-2s and 4-3s all the way to the end.
And again, it's the teams like Wolves that end up beating Spurs this season.
Yeah.
It's not the big games, but and Villa have had a real dip. Obviously, they've still been getting some good results in that, but they've had a real dip in form compared to the first half of the season.
Aye.
I mean, I think in the last calendar year they were like second to City or something on points that they got. So I mean, it was a bound to happen.
Aye.
They weren't going to be able to keep that up forever. But I give another good transfer window next year, and you know they'll be in and around those spots. I think for a while yet.
I seen Stan Collymore. Shout out Stan.
Should we be shouting at him?
Thingy. If he knows how to beat somebody, it's the thingy. But he was saying essentially, like with Villa, the frustrating thing with Villa is, see when the underdog, they play better. So like against City, they do all the running and all the pressing, but like they kind of expect to beat Tottenham. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't run as hard.
Yeah. I forgot about that Villa City game. That was one of the most dominant performances I've seen against Manchester City. So who knows? Maybe they will pull it back. But at least, I mean, there's a race for the title and a race for fourth. Mm-hmm. So it's exciting. Arsenal Brentford.
Yes.
Can't win every game 5-0, can you? You know,
nah.
It'd be boring. They started like they were going to.
Yeah.
Very attacking, created lots of well, no, they didn't create lots of chances. They were in the opponent's box a lot, but they didn't have too many chances. I think the best one they had early on, first 20 minutes, was probably the header that Tony clears off the line from the corner. And then after that, there wasn't too much until Ben White whipped in that absolute pearl of a cross.
Yeah.
For the goal. It was quite similar to McAllister's ball against Forest for Nunes, and Big Rice steps up once again to get a goal for them.
It was White on Rice.
You've been waiting. How long?
I've been waiting so long for this.
Ever since the packet of rice thing fell apart.
Ever since I lose packet and Declan Rice cooking up a packet of rice.
Is it not Lucas Packet?
Lewis. I said Lucas, did I not?
You went Lewis?
Lewis, aye, Lewis, because he's...
Lupo Packet.
Lewis.
I'm sure either that or I'm going deaf. Both things are possible.
I want that bleeped.
So Declan Rice again, like, another goal for him. He's been outstanding this season. I don't think there's any new signing that's been as good as him. Maybe McAllister, I suppose.
Was he your shout for signing this season?
He absolutely wasn't. I didn't think he played in glamorous enough a position, and I also didn't think he'd make that big a difference to Arsenal. I thought he'd improve Arsenal, but I didn't think adding someone like Declan Rice would make them that much better than they were, because they were already second best team in the league. But he really has made a huge difference. I think I went for Tonali, and that backfired.
Me too.
No, you had him for player of the year.
Oh, there we go.
You had Kovacic for signing him.
Okay. I mean, he just gets subbed on for the best centre mid in the world. So
yeah.
Let's be honest.
That's preview, right? Again, Brentford were a bit shite defensively, but we said that a few times recently. Rice didn't get a lot of challenge for that header. It was a bit easy for him, to be honest with you.
Soft goal.
Yeah, and you'd expect more from, because teams down that side of the table, or like who aren't too long in the league, Brentford have been about for a little while now, you do expect all the centre backs to be strong, very good in the air. Like, that's what teams often want to do when they're new, is push, play out wide, force them to cross it in so they can just deal with the aerial challenge. But
Brentford are in free fall, by the way.
yeah.
Like, I think they're like 14th, 15th.
Yeah.
They're like just plummeting, mate.
And that's a lot to do with it. They've conceded 16 goals from headers this season, which is the most in the league. And, you know, that's the one thing you expect to be good at. The defence just hasn't worked out. Missing Tony will obviously play a big part, but they're also missing Rico Henry and
but they've no
Ethan
improved
Pinnock.
since he came back. That's what everybody was waiting for, him to come back and they would start kicking on a bit.
Yeah, it's not been great for them. And I feel sorry for Frank, because I think he's a brilliant manager.
Yeah,
I really like
manager.
him. But I mean, they'll stay up, just got on the basis that there are worse teams than them in the league. So do you want to talk about this goal then?
Right, Ramsdale's?
It's not Ramsdale's goal. Right. It was a bad mistake.
Yeah, it was
I'm willing to
terrible.
admit that. But how many times have we seen that happen to Raya? It just hasn't happened to bounce into the net afterwards.
know, that's
So
it.
many times that
It's
is
just
exact
like,
same
it's
shit.
just because every week you're almost waiting for Raya to make a mistake at this point.
I think you think I hate him a lot more than I do. I like Raya. I just think Ramsdale's better, and it was pointless buying in another goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think I like it. I just like winding you up, to be honest.
I know.
Yeah, so like same week that Raya saves 2 penalties in a Champions League shootout, Ramsdale makes a terrible mistake.
The same mistake Raya's made countless times this season. Yeah.
That's not bounced into the net, yo.
No.
Your words.
It hasn't bounced into the net. But I mean, that is luck rather than judgment on Raya's
No,
part.
it's just like Raya's good with his feet. I think his distribution is better. I think Ramsdale, I do agree with you, is a better shot stopper, but I think Raya is just better with his feet and distribution.
I'm not sure about that, because I mean, he is a good long passer, but I've also seen him panic the amount of times where he gets the ball close to him and he just plays a short pass and it goes straight to the opposition.
Yeah,
Raya. So I don't know. But you've got to credit Wissa or however you pronounce it. I'm never sure about that, because the energy he spent trying to get back there and get to it. It was a really good bit of play from him.
To be fair to Ramsdale, second half he made a couple of fucking
massive
great saves.
Yeah.
The one with Tony was a belter.
Aye. And you've got to be sharp in those situations, because all the play was up the other end of the pitch. They get 1-2 breaks away and you've got to be concentrating enough to make the save. So well done. That's all you can say. He's done really well there. Havertz was probably lucky to be in the pitch because it was a dive. Although you could argue that his first yellow wasn't really a yellow. So like maybe that was factored into the referee's thinking. It shouldn't be, but maybe it was. And of course they can't review a second yellow card, so what can you do?
I don't get it.
No.
I don't get it.
It's the first time it's worked out in my favour, and I still think you should be able to do it.
Aye, because like it's not like if it like don't review yellows, but second yellows review them. If somebody's on a yellow, and they commit a foul,
100%.
you sure want to make sure, because you're not talking about a yellow card, you're talking about a red card.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'd agree with that. But he then pops up and scores again. Havertz finding form.
Aye,
just before the fucking Euro.
He's so hot and cold, that guy.
Aye,
it's mental because he's got everything.
Aye,
like he's big. He's good in the air. He can fucking dribble. He can pass. Like
he's got everything a good footballer should have, apart from being a good footballer.
He's got all the ingredients. Can I make the soup?
That's Arsenal 8 wins on the bounce now, which is the longest of any team at any point this season.
That's because Edison invented the light bulb.
Yeah, my brain's still going, City are going to win this. A quick chat about Everton and Man United, and then we'll shoot off, because we've got comedy festival things to do tonight. Everton are unlucky in this game.
Yeah,
I think they were the better team, and United just happened to get 2 penalties and score them. Garnacho basically pulled United at the fire.
Yeah,
because his quick feet, like he's just so good at dribbling and like making you think the ball is going to be in a certain position, moving at last second, then you take him out for the foul.
Yep.
He's really, really good at that. He does that to win the first penalty, then to win the free kick that Fernandes, I think you should say, forces Pickford to make the save for him with his tiny wee arms. And then
Velociraptor arms.
and then he does it again for the second penalty. It's all Garnacho, basically. And Everton had so many chances in that game. They really, like, how they didn't score is beyond me. And it's not a surprise because I found this. Man United before the weekend had conceded 467 shots in the Premier League this season.
What?
The second worst only to Sheffield United.
What?
Yep.
That's a horrific stat.
Maybe Onana's a lot better than we think
I know.
he is because,
you're going to make mistakes if you're facing like fucking 10 shots a game.
Yeah,
15.
absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, Everton played very well up until the final third, just couldn't score, and that's been the story of their like season really. They're playing decent football, but not getting the results.
They're not playing decent football, man.
Well, they played some good stuff in that game.
I know, but like
you just are loath to give Dyche any kind of praise.
I hate it, man. It's so
like
passionate.
They were the better team. They deserve to win.
Guy drinks Boddingtons, man. You can just tell.
Like, look, at least it's not Carling. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, let's wrap up because we've got things to do and so does Paul.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's all from the Phil Shy this week. So it's goodbye from Patrick.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me. Stay fresh, cheese bags.